Hi guys, my name is Trinity, and if you are here, you must be here to talk about books because that's why I'm here, to talk about some books. And today I am going to start a new thing for this channel and kind of out myself just a little bit. My friend Sam from the Book in Hand blog used to do a TBR Cleanup post. And I used to love them so much, so much. It was like the funnest game on Twitter. Every time she posted it, every Sunday, I would be like, oh, I have to figure out which one is going to stay around, which one she's gonna get rid of, and all of that fun stuff. So I feel like this is something that I also need to do because when looking at my Goodreads TBR, my want to read section, I have over 600 books. Oh, 600 to be read books. That's insane. And I do want to whittle that down a bit because there's no way I'm gonna get to 600 books. This does not include sequels. I have eliminated sequels from my TBR because if I haven't read the first book, there's no reason for me to have the sequels on my TBR, right? Or if I haven't read the second book, there's no reason for me to have the third and fourth book on my TBR, right? Yes, this is something that I have been wanting to do for a while, but I would like to talk about it. I would like some feedback. I would like other people's opinions on these books so that I'm not just writing them off based on the synopsis or if I have or haven't heard of the book, especially because I'm not a huge fan of the popular books. So I really want to make sure that I'm reading books that I'm going to enjoy and eliminating those that I don't think are up my alley. All right, so how I'm gonna do this is I am going to pull up my Goodreads and I am going to pick 10 books to talk about and see if they are books that I want to keep on my TBR or not. Now, in this video, I may eliminate some books. However, if I do eliminate a book that you guys think I'm going to thoroughly enjoy, let me know. Because again, I'm trying to make this list something that is going to bring me joy in the future. Okay, so for book number 1 of this list, I am going to be talking about The Paradise War by Stephen R. Lahed. Ignore the stickers. I didn't know they were there when I pulled this down, and I'm not going to try and get them off right now. So before I talk about what this book is about, let's discuss why this is on my TBR. It's Stephen R. Lahed. If you guys can see, this whole shelf is Stephen R. Lahed. I just have not read this one yet. And I do love Stephen R. Lahed's writing. You guys know that Hood is one of my favorite series. He also has a Camelot retelling that I haven't finished, but I have started and really, really enjoyed. I might go back and do a reread next year. There's 2 Camelot retellings that I'm going to be reading anyway. But this one in particular, I just haven't started yet. From the dreaming spires of Oxford, Lewis Gillies drives north to seek a mythical creature in a misty glen in Scotland. Expecting little more than a weekend diversion, Lewis finds himself in a mystical place where 2 worlds meet, in the time between times and in the heart of a battle between good and evil. The ancient Celts admitted no separation between this world and the other world. The two were delicately interwoven, each dependent on the other. The Paradise War crosses the thin places between this world and that as Lewis comes face to face with an ancient mystery and a cosmic catastrophe in the making. So, Celtic, yes, I'm so on board for that. The other world, I'm so on board for that. I don't know what stopped me from reading this book. So I'm going to hold on to it, mainly because it's Stephen R. Lawhead and he hasn't let me down yet. But it's one that do I need to prioritize it? Have you guys read it? Do you guys love it? Do you guys hate it? I am keeping this one on the TBR for now. Okay, next we have Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna. I do own this book. It is in the other room, so I'm not going to go run and grab it. But this is one I have put off because it's a little bit more contemporary than what I usually like. Can a woman ever really know herself if she doesn't know her mother? And ignore the dog. Meredith and Nina Whitson are as different as sisters can be. One stayed at home to raise her children and manage the family apple orchard. The other followed a dream and traveled the world to become a famous photojournalist. But when their beloved father falls ill, Meredith and Nina find themselves together again, standing alongside their cold, disapproving mother, Anya, who even now offers no comfort to her daughters. As children, the only connection between them was the Russian fairy tale Anya sometimes told the girls at night. On his deathbed, their father extracts a promise from the women in his life. The fairy tale will be told one last time, and all the way to the end. Thus begins an unexpected journey into the truth of Anya's life in a war-torn Leningrad. More than 5 decades ago, alternating between the past and present, Meredith and Nina will finally hear the singular harrowing story of their mother's life, and what they learn is a secret so terrible and terrifying that it will shake the very foundation of their family and change who they believe that they are. So, this is a mix of contemporary and historical fiction. Now, I have read The Lost Apothecary. I kind of don't like this format. But I love Kristen Hanna's writing, so I'm really torn on whether or not to pick up this book. I think I might like it, but I also think there's a good chance that I won't like it. So because I own it, I'm going to keep it on the TBR for now. If you guys have read it, let me know what you guys think about it, because I'm just a little torn. Like I said, there's a good chance that I will like it. There's a good chance that I won't like it. Little 50-50 on this one. All right, next is The Lacuna by Barbara Kingsolver. Now, this is a historical fiction set in Mexico City and surrounding Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo. I think I'm going to remove this from my list. So I love Barbara Kingsolver. I've always really enjoyed her writing ever since high school. And I picked this up because I really, really wanted to own all of the Barbara Kingsolver books. Now let me read a little bit of the synopsis. Born in the United States, reared in a series of provisional households in Mexico from a coastal island jungle to 1930s Mexico City, Harrison Shepard finds precarious shelter but no sense of home on his thrilling odyssey. Life is whatever he learns from his housekeepers who put him to work in the kitchen, errands he runs in the streets, and one fateful day by mixing plaster for famed Mexican muralist Diego Rivera. He discovers a passion for Aztec history and meets the exotic, imperious artist Frida Kahlo, who will become his lifelong friend. When he goes to work for Lev Trotsky, an exiled political leader fighting for his life, Shepard inadvertently casts his lot with art and revolution, newspaper headlines and howling gossip, and a risk of terrible violence. Yeah, no. I know that I really want to own all of the Barbara Kingsolver because I loved her growing up, but this is a book I think I need to set aside and take back to the buy-sell trade because like I said, I do own it, but I'm never going to read it. All right, next is the first in an urban fantasy series that I have yet to start but has been on my TBR since 2011. Ill Wind by Rachel Kane. This is the Weather Wardens series, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this in the past. I haven't heard anybody talk about it recently, but I have liked Rachel Kane's writing in the past, and I know she recently passed away, so there are a couple of series of hers that just won't ever be finished, but I do believe that this is actually a finished series. This says, Joanne Baldwin is a weather warden. Usually, all it takes is a wave of her hand to tame the most violent weather, but now Joanne is trying to outrun another kind of storm, accusations of corruption and murder. So she's resorting to the very human tactic of running for her life. Her only hope is Lewis, the most powerful warden. Unfortunately, he's also on the run from the World Council. It seems he's stolen not one, but 3 bottles of gin, making him the most wanted man on Earth. And without Lewis, Joanne's chances of surviving are as good as a snowball in, well, a place she may be headed. So she and her classic Mustang are racing hard to find him because there's some bad weather closing in fast. I have wanted to read these for a while. The problem that I'm having is I've read a lot of urban fantasy, and this sounds like a lot of urban fantasy. Like most urban fantasy, and I hate to say this, but most urban fantasy written by women has a little bit of a formula to it, and basically give us a badass female with a kick-ass car and magic. And then some form of romance, because that's just the way that urban fantasy written by women has a tendency to play out. Now, there are some that break the mold. There are some very much outside of this formulaic setup, but it sounds like it might fall into that. Now, I have liked those in the past. I have been able to read them and really enjoy them and have them as fillers for when I'm trying to read the big epic fantasy and just have these books in between to be like, taking a little bit of a break. But I have not started the series yet. So I do wonder if it's a series that I'm really going to enjoy. It is the oldest series on my TBR, and I do own the series. I happened to find these in paperback, like the whole series at the buy sell trade, and because they're 25 cents for a paperback, I went ahead and bought all of them. And so I do still want to give these a try. They just have not been very high on my priority list. And I do wonder at times if I should just take them back. So this is one that I need you guys to weigh in on. Have you read it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you find it generic? And if so, I will take them back to the buy sell trade. But if you guys tell me that I really need to read this series and that I'm going to enjoy it, I will listen to you and try them out. So the next one is Metalon by Jennifer Fallon and another from 2011. I had heard on Twitter, my goodness, 2011 Twitter, some people talking about this book and Jennifer Fallon in particular and how much they really enjoyed her writing. I did purchase this book, but I never got around to reading it, and it does not call to me. The small country of Metalon lies between the vast nation of Carrion in the north and the nations of Vardonia and Hythria in the south. For centuries, the Metalonians coexisted peacefully with the Harshini, a magical race that arbors killing. But now they are gone, and in their place, the Sisters of the Blade rule Metalon from the Citadel. An elite army of defenders enforces the Sisterhood's oppressive rule. The Harshini and their demons are believed to be extinct, and Metalon has an uneasy peace with its northern and southern neighbors. Rashiel Tinragan, daughter of the first sister, and her half-brother Tarja find themselves caught up in the political infighting amongst the Sisters of the Blade. When their mother's scheming becomes too much to bear, Rashiel and Tarja are determined to follow their own path, and they flee the Citadel. Their lives take a turn neither could have ever imagined, and the defenders of Metalon hunt them as traitors. Meanwhile, far in the south, in Hythria, Brack, a Harshini outcast, is called to find the demon child, the half-human child of the dead Harshini king, Lorandranek. But what can this mean to Rashiel? So, most of that does sound up my alley. However, it also sounds like it's not very cohesive. And so I have put it off. I can see it. It's right there. I have also recommended it to other people based on the recommendation given to me. So I do feel like I need to read it. I do feel like I need to read it, especially since I'm like, hey, this was recommended to me. Maybe you'll like it. I need to know what my opinion is on the book. But I just never reach for it, and I'm not exactly sure why. Have you read Metalon or Jennifer Fallon? Do you think that it's something that I would enjoy? Is it character driven? I do have that problem with high fantasy as well, in that I don't like character driven books, but this does sound like it's not cohesive just by the summary, and so that does always put me off just a little bit. All right, here we have a very popular YA. And that would be The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I got this for Christmas 2 years ago, and I still have not read it. I think I might like it, but every time someone talks about it, they never fail to say how bad the first book is. It's always, I love the Raven cycle, but the Raven Boys kind of sucks. That does not make me want to start this series. Oh, so I know that this book is the setup to the rest of the series, and I own it because it was bought for me for Christmas, and that I'm probably going to be ticked that this book goes nowhere. That doesn't make me want to read it. However, I keep holding on to it because everybody tells me how good the Raven cycle is, and I'm like, okay, well, let's find out. Let's figure that out. But I still haven't picked it up. What do you guys think? Is it a series that you think I will like? Is it worth reading the first book to get to the rest of them? I don't know. I don't know. I need you guys to weigh in on the Raven cycle. Also, is it a series or, book that I am going to enjoy reading the first time as an adult? Because I haven't read these yet. All right, next we have Black Feathers by Joseph DeLacy. Now, I picked this up because whenever I was looking for fantasy horror, like ones that crossed over, this was recommended to me. And I've had it for quite some time, guys, quite some time. My Goodreads says 2013. The back of this says, "It is the Black Dawn, a time of environmental apocalypse, the earth racked and dying. It is the bright day, a time long generations hence, when a peace has descended across the world. In each era, a child shall be chosen. Their task is to find the dark Messiah, known as the Crowman. But is he our savior or the final incarnation of evil?" And the quote on this says, "If you're a horror fan and you're not already reading Joseph DeLacy, you had better have a bloody good excuse." So I am hoping that this is the horror fantasy blend that I want it to be, but I haven't picked it up. And like I said, 2013 is when I got it. That's when I added it to my TBR. I still haven't read it. I do still think every time I see it, oh, I need to get to that. But I never do. Have you guys read this? I do believe it's the start of a series. It says volume 1. Have you enjoyed it? Have you never even heard of it? Should I keep it on my TBR? Okay, one that I do not own that I think I might remove from my list is Snow Crash by Neal Stephenson. Now, I have gone through bouts of adding sci-fi to my list without much thought behind it. I just see a popular author and then I add a book to the TBR. This one does have an average 4.02 rating on Goodreads, so it kind of hurts me a little bit to say that this is what I'm going to remove, but I don't own it. It's been on my TBR since 2014, and I think that I'm just not going to get around to reading it. It doesn't call to me. It's a little bit on the absurdist side, and I have come to find that absurdism is just not for me. In reality, hero protagonist delivers pizza for Uncle Enzo's Casa Nostra Pizza Incorporated. But in the metaverse, he's a warrior prince, plunging headlong into the enigma of a new computer virus that's striking down hackers everywhere. He races along the neon-lit streets on a search and destroy mission for the shadowy virtual villain threatening to bring about Infocalypse. The Infocalypse. Snow Crash is a mind-altering romp through a future America so bizarre, so outrageous, you'll recognize it immediately. Yeah, no, I don't think that that's a book for me. So I am going to remove Snow Crash from my TBR. All right. Next, we have another young adult series, and that would be The Young Elites by Marie Lu. Oh, so I have had this book for a little while. I did pick it up at the buy, sell, trade. However, I read Legend last year, didn't like it. I felt like it was too young for me. So that has put me off to reading more Marie Lu because she does write young adult. And I have a feeling that they're just going to be too young for me. So if you've read The Young Elites, let me know if you like it, if it's a book you think I will like reading as an adult. And I've heard many, many, many good things about this one, even more so than Legend, and then Sky Hunter even more than this. So let me know how you guys think I should rank this. Is it something I should keep on the TBR? But there's the whole I haven't been enjoying dystopian type mindset I have with this book too. So I don't know. This one I waffle on quite a bit. I just don't know about this one. So let me know, push me in one direction or the other to read it or not read it, because I cannot decide if I want to read this or not. All right, next and last, we have Spirit Gate by Kate Elliott. Again, this is a series that I own. Yes, series that I own that I just haven't gotten around to reading. I own this though because my best friend from back in the day loved these books and recommended them to me. She is a character-driven reader, so I haven't picked these books up yet. I worry when it comes to character-driven books that I'm just not going to enjoy them. For hundreds of years, the Guardians have ruled the world of the 100, but these powerful gods no longer exert their will on the world. Only the Reeves who patrol on enormous eagles still represent the Guardians' power. And the Reeves are losing their authority, for there is a dark shadow across the land that not even the Reeves can stop. A group of fanatics has risen to devour villages, towns, and cities in their drive to annihilate all who oppose them. No one knows who leads them. They seem inhumanly cruel and powerful. Mai and Anji, riding with a company of dedicated warriors and a single Reeve who may hold a key to stopping the deadly advance of the devouring horde, must try, or the world will be lost in the carnage. But a young woman sworn to the goddess may prove more important than them all, if they are not too late. A haunting tale of people swept up by a chaos of war. This is superlative fantasy adventure, rich in texture, filled with color and excitement, masterfully crafted and by a brilliantly gifted storyteller. Oh, so this is also touted as science fiction fantasy. So it does appeal to me. It does appeal to me. The average rating on Goodreads is a 3.6. So it's not a bad rating, and this is the first book of a series. So I think I have re-talked myself into these books. Just by reading the synopsis and trying to get you guys to help me decide what I want to read. So there are a few that I am a little waffly about, a little unsure about. Help me decide which ones I should eliminate. I did permanently eliminate one, and one is fair enough. That does bring my want to read count to 601. But I will continue to do these videos, and we will continue to eliminate some books from the TBR. All right, like, subscribe, do all the fun things, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!